consent of everything. Without the father's permission.
Okay, stop. Bros, here we go. There's a woman here. There's a woman here. We'll ask her. Do you think it's morally okay for a man to determine when you can and can't leave your home?
No. When I can't, I cannot work. When I can't, I cannot drive. When I can't, I cannot go out.
But how do you know that you're not a Muslim woman? How do you know?
Because I'm not blind. I've
You're
seen
not blind.
it.
I've never lived. How do you know?
I've seen it.
How? Tell me. But we get unmoral. No, tell me. What's moral? What's really moral?
But that's not why I disagree with that morality. I agree with other morality in the Quran,
They
but
go
not
out
that.
on their own.
Do they go out on their own?
Yes.
In today's society right now, yeah, they do.
They do? Okay. They'll go out without any kind of other man going with them.
If they want to, yeah, if they want to.
No, that's not true.
She's talking about me.
You.
So they can?
Yeah, they can if they want to.
Okay. They can choose who they want to marry?
Yes, they obviously.
Yes?
Yes.
Okay.
My sister's there. I don't mean subjective.
Okay, so
that's what I'm saying.
So you
Your
subjectively.
sister, that's good. But most of what I know is not up to the woman to decide. It is more of a apparent approval of the man approval. It's not always for the woman to decide.
But these are not the teachings of Islam. This is something like you. Where did you get your information from? That's how I do.
I got them from the news.
From the news.
Well, I've seen it happen.
I can elaborate on this.
I'm a Muslim, innit?
Saudi Arabia,
as well.
Saudi Arabia, Iran, both have state laws, as does Qatar, and many Arab states have laws that a female needs permission from a male guardian to leave the home. That's not just a personal law in someone's house where they're personally choosing to follow Islam. That's the state dictating to all of its citizens that a female needs permission from a male guardian to leave the home.
But that's different to her point. What you saying now is different to what she said.
It's an extension of it.
You know the reason why we do it, right? The reason why we do it is a form of protection. So when my sister comes to me and says, "Oh Ali, I'm getting this off, can you come with me?" It's not a form of control. It's more of a protection.
Why does she need a protection?
What would happen if you did that in the UK?
What my sister asked me?
Yeah, your sister asks you to go to the shop, and you say no, and you lock the door on your sister and say you're not leaving the house.
I'm a Muslim.
No, I know you're a Muslim.
I'm a Muslim with good morals, good ethics.
What would happen to you?
That's the difference between me and you.
What would happen in this country if you did that? If you locked a woman in a house and said she can't leave?
Obviously, it goes against Islam anyway. So what's
No. How does that go against Islam?
Locking a woman.
No. She's saying
I'm oppressing that woman.
No, but you're saying you don't want her to leave the house and stopping her from leaving.
Yeah. If she wants to leave, she can leave.
That's not Islam. That's your personal belief. Islam says that a female needs permission from a male guardian to leave. She needs the mahram.
I'm not putting him to leave the yard. Yeah.
That's two different things. You say you can lock the woman inside the house against her will, and he's saying this is the Islamic view.
I don't know. I've never heard that. As a Muslim,
hold on.
Muslim, this is new.
But then you say it, the woman needs a guardian, and now you're misleading. You're misleading people.
So maybe it's ignorance on my part. Maybe it's ignorance on my part.
I'm not Wahhabi Muslim.
Maybe it's ignorance on my part, so I'm going to ask you a question.
No.
I'm not Wahhabi. You're talking to a different group of people.
I'm trying to be humble here.
No. I need you to clarify your point, because you say
I want to understand this guy's point of view. Why do you see it as a control?
So I'm trying to
use like negative words.
I'm trying to explain that. So maybe you can enlighten me. Maybe it's ignorance on my part. It could be ignorance on my part.
It's not about ignorance. You saying
no, let him talk.
Are you going to let me talk, or are you just going to talk over me?
No, a person.
Are you going to talk over me, or let me talk? No, I'm speaking. Learn some respect. Okay, I'm trying to understand. When it says that a female needs permission from a male guardian to leave, and if the male does not want to go out and chaperone her, and doesn't want to leave with her, can that woman leave the house? So he said no, and he doesn't want to send anyone with her. Can she leave the house?
That depends on the context.
That is the context.
Yeah. So imagine it's 12 o'clock and my sister...
No.
I'll give you the context. Real life context. My household context. It's 12 o'clock, it's late, my sister wants to go have a chicken burger from the local chippy. It's late, I can't be asked to go. Yeah? Chances are she's not going, we're not going. She's not getting chicken and chips.
Okay, so
That's very simple.
But what is she saying? Like, please, I want to go, and you're saying no.
At that moment, no.
Well, and can you, within Islam, lock the door?
No, obviously not. She has the right to say, I will not listen to you, I'm walking out the house.
Yeah. Really?
She's disobeying.
Of course she does.
Disobeying.
Of course she does.
No, I'm saying in that.
Under Islam, she's allowed to.
No. As in the general concept of free will, she can get up and leave
but
the
there's
house.
consequences to free will. She can eat a bacon sandwich according to free will. So let's say we're living in an Islamic state, not Daesh, but an Islamic state. What happens if she then chooses not to follow your instruction, and she leaves the house? What's the consequence?
I don't know, but I don't know personally of a consequence.
No, I know he wouldn't do that.
I personally don't know of a consequence.
There is no consequence.
There's no consequence.
In my household, there's a level of moral. We have morals.
There is no consequence. If you think there is a consequence, tell me.
Okay, so
you understand?
I
My
believe,
sisters are graduates.
and I'm not an expert in this subject, I believe there are
My
consequences
sisters are graduates.
for a woman who leaves the home without permission from a male guardian. Similarly, she can be jailed if she leaves the country without permission from a male guardian in places like Saudi
Now
Arabia.
you're bringing, you're going into general things. You were talking in general, and now you adding more facts so you can prove your point. That's my problem with you. You were misleading in the beginning. You were misleading in the beginning, and now you're misleading this.
You're not going to be jailed in Saudi.
Yeah, exactly. There is no consequence.
Won't be jailed in Saudi. There is no consequence.
There is no consequence. If there is consequences,
There's no
show me proof.
I live in Saudi.
You live in Saudi, okay. So, okay. I live in Saudi,
I told you there is no consequence.
Where are you from?
Tell me.
Which country are you from?
Yeah, I was in Saudi as well.
You're in Saudi?
Yeah, tell me, yeah.
And so you're telling me that within Saudi Arabian law, if a woman leaves the country...
Now is leave the country. Listen. Now is leave the country.
Okay.
Now leave the country. Thank you very much. That's what I'm saying about you misleading people.
If a woman leaves the house,
be clear.
a woman leaves the house without permission from her, without a guardian, and without permission from a male in her family or a husband, you're saying on camera, to the camera, there are no consequences to that.
No, you claim that there is consequences.
I'm asking.
So show me.
I don't know.
No, you are not asking.
I don't know.
You are not asking. He said there is consequences.
The camera.
Okay, the cameras are there. We check the cameras. You said there is consequences.
And you're telling me there's not.
So you claimed.
You're telling me there's not.
What?
You said you lived in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
And you're telling me there are no consequences if a woman leaves the house without permission from her male guardian.
Okay, can I talk now? Yeah. So basically, you started by claiming that there is consequences. Okay.
I said.
So if you think there is consequences, show us what's your consequences.
So you don't know. You don't know.
And how did you reach that?
you don't know.
No, I need to know your point
It's more
first.
of a guidance kind of thing. I don't think there is a consequence. I've never heard of consequences.
Okay,
my father never mentioned it. My mother, I've never heard of it. But if you could, I'll be interested.
You don't need to say anything. Let him tell us first.
It was more of a guidance kind of thing. That's how I understood
guidance?
it. Yeah, I'm more of a guidance. It comes from a good place. Your sister's leaving.
Because he mentioned,
you're there to protect
listen,
her.
Didn't
bad men out there.
on camera, go back to the camera. Didn't he say the consequences is going to jail?
I don't know about that.
Didn't he say that?
I don't know.
So we can all fact check on the internet.
Did he say that? Did he say something about going to jail?
I know.
If going out of the house.
So I know.
He said something
So I
around
know
this
that you
line
can go.
that you would go to jail. Did he say that?
I believe that you can go from what
Did he mention jail? Yeah.
I'm just trying to answer you.
Thank you.
I recall from what I've read, if the woman leaves the country, that's why I said country, yeah, without permission from a
But we
male
were talking
guardian.
about house.
It's
So
an
why you
extension
changing?
of the
No,
same
that's
thing.
misleading. You misleading.
Why is a country different?
You misleading. Leaving the country
so is it morally-
and leaving a house. We were talking about leaving a house, and now you're changing the thing.
Basically, we're trying to say our women are oppressed
That's
in general,
misleading.
in short words.
I think within some Islamic states, women are oppressed. Yeah. Not in all. Not all.
But, okay.
Not all Muslims.
No, let's stick to our point.
So the
Let's stick to
state
our
that
point.
identifies as being under Islam would be Saudi Arabia.
Saudi they press Wahhabi Muslims.
So you're the Muslim. They follow the Sharia far more than the UK follows the Sharia.
Follow the Sharia. Royal family.
What do you mean with family?
Royal family.
So I would say there are members of the royal family that follow the Sharia.
Members
There's
of the whole
that aren't.
family.
Yeah. I'd say there are members that go out and drink and have parties with girls.
Is that a part of the
They're inviting Nicki Minaj. You're telling me?
Yeah, I saw the Nicki
You're telling
Minaj
me
thing.
it's the
It's
Islamic
crazy.
State, yeah? So
you're
they
saying
represent
Saudi
Islam.
Arabia-
It's their own way of
This is
ruling.
the
Are you
the
saying?
problem with speakers
No,
corner.
I'm asking you.
There's
I'm
a
asking
certain
you now.
insincerity.
No, just tell me.
There's a certain insincerity.
Let's hear him out, hear him out.
There's a certain insincerity when you try to claim that Saudi Arabia Arabia is not in any shape or form governed by Sharia. Now there may be members
Did
of
I do that? Did I do that?
Finish,
No, did I do that?
I beg you, let me
No, I don't think Judaism is bad. I think Judaism and Islam are very similar.
You don't follow.
I do follow Judaism. This is the thing.
Finish your point.
So, Saudi Arabia identifies as an Islamic country. It bans non-Muslim practice, religious practice, anywhere in the country. Within Saudi Arabia. I, as a Jew, cannot visit Mecca and Medina. I can't have any visible outward signs of Judaism while I'm there. Yeah, I can't wear my tefillin. I can't practice my Jewish faith in Saudi Arabia today. Certainly not in the cities of Mecca and Medina. Now, there are many other laws. So, corporal punishment, things that are tied explicitly to the Sharia. Now, you may say that they interpret the Sharia wrong. You may say that members of the Saudi family behave completely wrong. You may point out rightly that Nicki Minaj isn't exactly the most halal singer that should be singing in Saudi Arabia. I haven't watched many of her videos, but I know that she doesn't wear the niqab. I know that she doesn't wear hijab. So I can believe you when you tell me, I agree with you, when you say that Saudi Arabia isn't run to the T by Sharia law. Absolutely. But I also say it's insincere if you're trying to tell me that there isn't any Islam within Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, there is.
There's a lot of Islam. And that's what I'm saying. It's a Muslim.
It's not ruled by Sharia law.
It's ruled more by Sharia law than most countries in the
It's ruled
world.
by Wahhabism. It's not Islam.
So this is something that if we ask everyone in here which division, which stream of Islam they follow, you're going to have Shia, Sunni, Wahhabi, you're going to have all the different schools represented. And the difficulty with any religion is there's diversity of thought. And so if there was a Jewish state run by Jewish law, I'd be going, no, it's not the real halakha. They're twisting it. They're getting it wrong. If you speak to the Saudi, if you speak to the ulama who sit on the Shura Council, they're going to tell you they're running it according to the Sharia law, and they're going to be more scholarly than me, probably more scholarly than most of us, and they will believe they're running the state according to Sharia. And that's the difficulty with religion. Each person has their own interpretation. Now, all I'm saying when it comes back to bring it back to women, I believe, and we were saying before, morality is subjective. I agree, it's subjective. I believe it is immoral for a man to say whether a woman can leave the house or not. Now, ignoring the jail time, because we can look that up on the internet separately, but ignoring that, the actual philosophical position, ignoring the philosophical.
I just want to hear it. I just want to hear what you're trying to.
The philosophical.
I just want to hear it.
Doesn't mean I can't talk.
No, but like
he interrupted me as well.
I understand.
So they're telling me this.
The philosophical position.
Yeah, I can talk to him as well.
The philosophical position of whether a woman can leave the house without permission of a man, I think, is a moral question. And I think it's immoral for a man to make that decision. I think women are smart enough today to make that decision.
to what end? You're missing the point.
What do you mean?
A man did not make that decision. That's the point.
You're saying that Allah made that decision?
No, but whatever you want to call it, yeah. A man did not make
I'm a Jew, so I don't follow the Quran and the Sunnah.
If you prove that you're correct and we all agree with you, then what would you want to change from that? That men don't tell women.
So yeah, my simple thing is I believe a woman should have agency. She should be able to determine when she leaves the house. If she feels it's unsafe, she's smart enough to make that decision. I believe she should be free to practice Islam.
You agree that some control needs to be done. Like, you have children?
No, not yet. Inshallah.
When your children about teenage, 12, 13, then I want to go out.
So I think children, I agree. Children up until the age of 18
So
or whatever.
there is certain idea about
not a wife.
prevention.
But in this country,
You agree the principle?
Please.
Okay. So this is comparing women to the house. It's a separate issue.
Okay.
It's a separate issue. Would you agree that it's immoral for a woman not to be allowed to walk out in the street topless? Like, so she wants to wear nothing on top.
Okay, so
It's just a question. It's a yes or no one. Really, it's not a trick question.
no, I can't answer yes or no. I have to answer my
So
own
a woman
way.
decides she wants to wear no top. She wants to go outside wearing like a hay, bamboo, like on the leggery.
So I have to answer my own.
You know where I'm going with this?
Yeah.
Because African tribes would say that you'd be immoral for not letting.
So what I would say is each society determines, so this is my answer, each society has its own definition of what nakedness would be, or what would be immoral within that society. So within some Islamic societies, face is fine, neck's maybe not okay, arms maybe up to there, depending on the society that you're living in. Other Islamic societies will say niqab, you can't, like, no ankles, no nothing.
Some African
society, topless, skirt, and that's fine. Other societies, like men wearing weird tubes on the, like...
So your moral beliefs are really not objective?
So I'm absolutely sorry.
What about the Jewish society? Can you tell us something about the Jewish society?
So Judaism...
As long as you accept that your morality is no more valid than me liking mint chocolate chip ice cream and you liking chocolate ice cream, then we are in agreement. Because that's been put through by the Vienna Circle.
So I'll give you I'll show you why that's objective.
Positive.
I'll show you why that's objectively false. I'll show you why that's objectively false.
You see where I'm coming from?
Yeah, I understand what you're saying, but by your definition, you could say two Muslims who interpret what we call it in Hebrew tzniut, what modesty is. Haya, I think, is it haya in Islam? Yeah. You have two. One says actually hijab, neck, that's fine, and like a face can be on show, and another says actually no, niqab is like absolutely essential. And yeah, Salafi or and within that you could say the same thing. Well, it's just you liking chocolate chip and you liking chip because you're trying to say it's objective morality. Listen.
Those ones say it's objective. Those ones say it's objective. You're saying yours is subjective.
But they're clearly not objective if they've got different opinions.
They claim that they're objective.
Okay, but if they're saying contradictory things based on the same source, it's clearly not objective.
True. So their claim is that their point is objective. They're saying that it's as true as it's raining outside or it isn't. Whereas you're saying your morality is, you're saying from your point of view is subjective.
No, I'm saying that all morality is shaped by the society that you live in. And so if you look at Jewish, so you ask the Jewish position. The Jewish position is women have to dress tzniut. Yeah, they're allowed to leave the house, but they have to cover their hair when they get married. They have to. There's again different opinions as to what constitutes. Some will say a sleeve has to, as long as it covers the shoulder, it's fine. Others will say the elbows. Others will say all the way down. Some will say you can wear tights. Some say you have to have the leg.
Okay, can I ask you in that?
Yeah.
Can I retract?
No, sorry. Because my point is related to what you're talking about. Yeah. Okay, because I asked you a question and you answered kindly. So sorry. So based on what you said about the dressing code, okay, who would monitor the dressing code that you're talking about?
No, so this is exactly.
Is it men or women?
No. So it's a good question. So who determined originally? Like who had that initial conversation 1,500 years ago, 2,000 years ago?
No, I'm talking about now.
So I'm trying to answer you the actual with the reality. So most of the laws of tzniut, modesty, evolved over time. Today, it is a woman who decides what she wears. But what that definition was, historically, was written hundreds of years ago to thousands of years ago by men. But whether a woman chooses to follow that is on her, if that makes sense.
That's the same with hijab.
And the main reason for that is,
but that seems to be like
the main reason for that is hundreds of years ago and thousands of years ago.
Smart way of answering.
Hundreds of years ago and thousands of years ago, it was men were the ones who had access to education in the Jewish society, women didn't. That's not the case anymore. So 2,000 years ago, women weren't really that capable.
But dressing codes was suggested, forced by men. Forced by men, history-wise.
Not forced, so you miss what I'm saying. Men determined what the dress code was, but the woman always had agency. I'm not saying Judaism's perfect, but I'm saying within this context, women had agency as to whether they chose to wear them or not. Now, there may have been consequences of things like shame and stuff like that. 2,000 years ago, I wasn't around, so I can't honestly answer, but it was always the woman had agency. Sorry, now you wanted to...
As we were saying about the Muslim thing, you still see it as a bad thing. I just wanted to change your opinion.
Do I say it's a bad thing that... Do I say it's a bad thing that women...
That as a man, my sister has to ask me for permission to go somewhere with her just so that I can look after her and whatever you want to call it. Why would you see that as a bad thing?
I believe the intention on your part is good.
No, that is the actual intention.
I believe the intention is good, but I believe the actual idea or the concept is bad. I believe your sister your wife, your mother, well not your mother, but your sister, your wife should have agency and decide for herself whether it's dangerous. So I think your heart, you're coming from a good place in your heart, but I disagree with what you're doing, if that makes sense.
Why? So wait, so do you reckon? Wait.
No problem. We always miss that. Women have rights over men as well.
Okay, no issue.
Within a marriage, a woman has to obey her husband, though. So
No,
as
but
far as
also women
the
have
Quran
rights
says.
over men.
No, but you make it seem like it's
No,
this,
but women have rights
like
over men
this
as well.
mad, strict, devilish.
No, I'm sure
that's
you're
what
the
you
best
make it
husband in
sound
the
like.
world.
It's so mad.
I'm
Like,
sure you're the best husband in the
There are a
world.
lot
but
of women and sisters and wives who ensure that their husbands are doing the things that they want them to do as well.
100%.
That's very much the case.
But is it mandated by the Quran? That's
Yeah, they have rights over them. They have to make sure they provide for them and also.
But yeah, we have to be the providers and the maintainers of women. Yeah.
Trust me.
But in terms of
I mean, the
obedience,
protectors and the
away from
maintainers.
away from the Fox News interpretation of the world, if you go to Egypt, the women have a lot more control over the men than sometimes vice versa. A lot of those men are quite scared of
maybe
the
I have to do more research, but I
Trust
thought
me,
women had
a
much
lot of
greater
those-
freedom here than in Egypt. But maybe that's my
But
own
it depends on
ignorance.
if you view, and also the thing is that they don't have to wear the hijab, but they choose to, by and large, majority of them.
So just so
But
I
they don't have
understand
to.
your
On
argument,
the
are
beach,
you
so they
saying
wear
that women
bikinis
have
for
more
them.
freedom in Egypt than here?
It depends though, because that's a dictatorship.
But
So,
freedom is
so
subjective
generally,
as well.
people have more freedom here. Generally, I don't think it's a male-woman issue there in that regard, because it's a dictatorship.
You don't,
I don't want to get my face on camera saying
Okay, all right.
It's a dictatorship, yeah. So,
Okay.
so it's like when people say, oh yeah, well, you know, yeah, it's like saying, for example, women in China are viewed as equal to men in a more egalitarian communist sense than they are in the West, but pretty much everyone's getting oppressed in China, so you equally get oppressed. You see the issue there? So it's a difference in sort of level there. But yeah,
Imagine a country where the government is very weak, so there's not a strong police force. So when a woman does leave her household, in that situation, what would you do?
So this is it again. What I would do is not what you would do.
I know from a Judeo point of view,
from a Jewish and from a non-Jewish.
knowing that outside the household,
from my own perspective, I believe I've got a wife. I believe she is smart enough to determine whether she can go out or not. If she wants to go out and I think it's dangerous, but she says no, I insist.
if you guys
I believe she has the right to go out.
Oh, I see what you're saying. So basically saying, as long as it's her choice, then it's acceptable.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll answer a question. Well, my sisters, this is how my sisters act in my house. When they want to leave the house, they come to me. They know we live in England and that they can just walk out the door and do as they please. But because of them and their upbringing and their Islamic morality, whatever you want to call it, they come to me and say, this is what you have to do. And I have to abide by it. And they guilt trip me by saying that I'm not acting accordingly to Islam. So what do I do then? And then you basically perceive that as a spin on, as if that women have been...
I've been involved in situations where when you want to get married,
you should see my sisters.
She says,
they'll be like, yo, come outside, you're coming.
I've been in a situation where you want to
What's
get
your
married.
channel? What's your channel? What is it? I always wonder.
Concept of everything.
Oh, you're Seaway as well?
No, I've been in a situation where you'd want to marry a Muslim woman and she asks you, do you pray 5 times? Are you going to make sure
Oh, yeah,
you're
okay,
going to do
acting.
that?
I bet
They give us as much authority.
Listen to his point,
No, I've been in situations where I want to marry a Muslim woman and they say, look, you have to, do you pray 5 times a day? Are you doing this? Are you paying zakat? They monitor that you are following the Islamic rules as well.
Joseph, I'll be honest with you, I don't want to
That's what
take
they
my
want.
sister to a
They
chicken
want
shop
that.
12
They
o'clock in
want
the morning.
pious
But
husband.
she
That's what
knows
they want.
that I have a duty over her.
protect
I
her.
prefer that she went by herself so that I can sleep. That I would rather sleep. But because my sister knows Islam and she plays the game very well, yeah, you have to come with me.
So can I tell you
what do I do then?
So it's a good question. And can I tell you what I think is a more moral position?
It goes both ways.
Yeah, so can I say
Islam as well? You have to understand.
I'm just going to flip this slightly.
100%.
What I think is the moral solution there, is in Islam, or let's say even Judaism, let's say both of our religions, a man should be obligated to chaperone a woman if she wants to. Do you see the difference there? So if your woman, your sister says, look, I want to go to the chip shop, but I feel unsafe, it shouldn't be for you to give her permission. It should be on you obligated to protect her if she wants protection.
100%.
But do you see the
as
difference?
I said to you, my sisters are raised with the teaching of Islam.
But do you see the difference?
They're raised
do you
like
understand,
that.
Do you understand that
So
subtle
there's also a problem
difference?
with the world that we live in, because we live in a liberal world order now, yeah? If we lived in fallout, which is what the rest of the world was like previously, prior to a lot of the industrialization that we have now, you wouldn't be wanting your family members to go out with marauding bandits. That's what we had during the time of the Prophet. We had marauding bandits and people chopping people up and killing people and raping people and taking slaves.
And so this is...
So of course you're going to go out.
So this
Imagine the time of the Prophet,
same way
it was a
it's not
fantastic
anybody.
rule.
But this is
when it was a little bit more harsher at those times.
But this is why it's not my place to say Islam needs to update. Obviously, that's not my place. I'm not a Muslim. But we don't live in that world today.
No, we only live in a temporarily safe world. Temporarily safe because it's only safe in certain Western areas and certain other industrial zones for a limited period. If international order breaks down, then it's perfectly applicable again.
Do you think a woman is capable? Do you think a woman is capable of making the decision whether it's safe or not for her to go out?
Well, think about it this way.
100%.
Yeah, so we're saying the same thing. That's what I'm saying.
100%.
The only difference is because you follow the Sharia, you try to follow the Sharia, you try to follow the Sunnah. You're saying that even though you think that she's capable of making that decision herself, she still needs to ask you for permission. But I'm saying,
yeah, if you're a fully grown adult male Muslim in the house, you ask your mother for permission before you go out as well.
There's a hierarchy in the household.
Yeah, you go to your mom. Don't you ask your mom?
can I ask? Because
don't you tell your mom? I want to go out late. Can I go out late? Even though you're a fully
this
grown
is
man.
ignorance on my part. Is there an Islamic obligation for you to ask your mum and get permission as a man? Do you need to get permission from your mother to leave the house? Because I've never heard
My
that.
mum says you're not leaving the house, it's done.
No.
Yeah.
You're not leaving the house.
If she expects it, yeah.
So I'm being oppressed now, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Because I have to.
I haven't met your mother. I'm not going to say whether you're being
mom.
oppressed or not. I'm sure she's lovely. You've got good manners.
And let me put it this way, yeah. If you were married to a Muslim woman and she tells you that she don't want you going out and you go out anyway, she can easily go to her family and say, I want a divorce. I'll give back the dowry. I don't want this guy. And by the way, there are some countries that are oppressive and they use their own interpretation. Like, you know how Saudi Arabia has some issues and so on. But realistically speaking, Muslim women do have the right to fast.
I have too much power in my life. They know how to use it very well as well. So it is what it is. You can look at it from both point of view.
What I will say, and I think it's a good thing to leave it on because I've got to go home.
Yeah,
but I think you're coming from a good place. I don't like when I say
that's
that.
how it should be. That's my
but
point.
what I'm saying is, that while I think you're coming from a good place, I do still believe that that's taking away agency from a woman and placing it in the male's hand. So the male is deciding ultimately whether it's safe or not. Now there may be many protections in place to help women and to avoid abuse of that situation, but the agency is taken from her and given to you. And I'm a liberal. I believe.
Yeah, that's a different ideology entirely.
Well,
I believe.
your question,
liberalism.
brother,
Just
your
do you know what
question-
liberalism is?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, but it's a different ideology.
Well,
And by the
what
way,
is
also, and
liberalism?
the other thing about liberalism as well is that it's based on a social contract. So, by the way, liberalism would allow for what would happen here if the majority, what we were advocating for, if the majority wants it that way. Because yes, it would. Because then
That's democracy.
because then they would leave the house, yeah, and then they would be breaching the social contract that the majority viewed upon it.
But that's democracy, not liberalism.
No, but it's based on a social contract as well. Liberalism is always what's the individual versus society, and society is always going to. There's always the issue of the social
Liberalism
contract.
is the individual and your individual
But
rights.
but the individual also has
We're going on. Let's not go into
But it
this.
does have a responsibility to society based on the social contract.
So I think we're moving the
But it
goalpost.
does. No?
Your question giving an impression
That's
that
Western
perception
liberalism.
that
Liberalism was applied to
Islam
another state. It wouldn't necessarily
making
be that way.
women somehow inferior to men. Correct.
Yeah, but by the way,
Let me tell you
by the
one
way, the
story.
Westerners did this during the age of
Let
imperialism
me
in China
finish
as well. It's a
the
classic
perception.
European colonial tool.
Prophet Muhammad do a business with his wife. Who ran the business?
His wife.
Yeah.
So who's in control of the business?
Yeah, Khadija ran the business.
But that's got
Yeah,
nothing
his
to do
And she
wife
was his
is
employer.
controlling.
That's
the
got
business.
nothing to do
It's
with
not
what
him
we're-
telling her what to do.
That has nothing to do with what?
That's not what we're discussing. We're discussing whether a woman has an
but
agency to leave
your
the house.
question
Because
is
she was
Whether
always
she can run a business.
No, the
Not whether she can blow her
Women
own
in
nose.
Islamic society, if the Prophet's
no,
wife
no,
can
no.
say you're fired,
And
then
then
I'm
you were
sure
giving
she has a lot of
example of
agency.
Saudi
Can I ask you a
Arabia.
question? Can the
saying
Queen,
that that's a
can the
Sunni
Queen
country.
leave her house by
a
herself?
woman is not
Can the Queen of
inferior
England?
in terms
I
of
assume so,
determining
but I
what
don't know.
Now, what do you
she
think?
want to do.
I would assume.
Can the Queen walk this road by herself?
Yeah, on its own.
That's the ideology in my household.
I assume she can, but I don't know.
Because men are telling her what
Has
to
she,
do.
has she ever done it?
I don't know. I genuinely don't know if the Queen has ever left the house.
Can the Queen leave her house by like walk?
Yeah, your
Can you see her
your
walking?
question always, can a woman go out the house without permission?
And in my house here, the women are treated like queens. That's in
I
short.
believe you, I
That's in
believe you, I
short.
believe you.
And we are like the soldiers, you know? Chicken shop, yeah. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? That's how we live our
No,
life.
you're not that scary soldier though.
Nah,
You're
but
quite a
you
nice
get-
guy.
But you get the point. But you get the
No, I
point. Yeah?
agree.
But to another man, I might not.
You
that's how
have
we
a
live.
No, and
preconceived idea. you
this
know?
is my experience of most of the Muslims I know are incredibly kind to their wives. So whatever I'm saying is theoretical rather than like attacking individuals. Like most of the Muslims I know do incredible
Can I ask you
good.
one interesting question?
And then I've got to go, yeah.
This is one side note. how come whenever Western societies are involved in some sort of like military or imperialist action against a society, they always bring up the status of women? Like for example in China as well. Do you think it's actually to like try and when they get those minority groups, try and snab a few of those women and so on?
No, I don't.
Because if you look at it, like they did that
Can
to
you give me an
Orientals.
example of...
I'll give you an example. So during the Opium Wars and these periods thereafter, they said that Western society is far superior to Oriental society in terms of the way they treat women. For example, foot binding. And now you see it's a very big like fetishization of Oriental women. There's an interesting correlation there.
So you're saying that the Opium Wars were because the men wanted to take the women?
I'm saying that when... I'm saying that during military adventurism into other people's lands, it's a classic tool to try and appropriate or take women or play games like that.
I don't know of any instances where the West has gone. No, where they went in and taken women.
During the boxing rebellions and all the military campaigns, there was extensive rape of the Chinese population. Extensive. But I'm just saying too, there's always that mention in Western discourse, and I think just general imperialist discourse. You get it in the Romans invading the Germans. There's always a mention of the status of those other people's women. Why do you think that is?
Possibly because I can't speak for
but
Russia, but I can speak about today.
You see where I'm coming from?
I can speak about today. It's really nice. What's your name?
Ali.
Ali.
Because there seems like a relative predatory attempt. It seems like it's slightly predatory.
Okay.
You see where I'm coming from?
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. I don't know if this true.
Because then I've got to go. About the whole foot binding thing, there was an extensive discourse in Western society about why Orientals and Chinese people are backward and why they treat women regressively compared to the Europeans. Meanwhile, of course, women didn't have the right to vote at that point. So it's just an interesting point.
Okay. What was your question? And then I've got to go.
It's an interesting point. I just, and the same thing with India. Why did they throw the women on the funeral pyres? They would say that. We treat our women. It's interesting.
Islamic.
It's interesting.
Under Islamic law.
Yes.
No,
under Islamic law, I'm not allowed to practice my religion in the Hijaz.
Just you as a Jew or
all Jews, Christians as well, pagans aren't allowed to practice their religion.
They're not allowed to practice
Yeah.
Equality.
Are Muslims allowed to practice their religion in the Vatican?
Yes.
They shouldn't be allowed.
But they've even got the call to prayer
they
there.
Shouldn't be allowed.
Why
in
not?
the Vatican?
In the Vatican.
They shouldn't be allowed.
Well, that's
you're not
that shouldn't be allowed. No, there's some places that are special for other people. They shouldn't be encroached.
You're not allowed to build a mosque.
Okay, so to that extent, to that point, should Muslims be allowed to pray on the Temple Mount?
Well, there's a dispute over the land there, yeah, so that's a problem.
That's different.
There's a dispute over the land, because they're saying that one has rights over the other, but the Jews are saying they don't have the right. That's what the Jews are saying. So according to them, that's true.
So the Waqf actually banned Jewish prayer from the Temple Mount.
Yeah, I know that. Well,
that's true, yeah.
Because I heard that they've been escorting people in there and they've been doing
No, Jews aren't allowed to pray there, and if they do, they get arrested.
So why does the Israeli government carry that forward?
To pacify the Jordanian Waqf, the Jerusalem Waqf.
Why do they care about what the Arabs think?
Because they're trying to create stability and peace in that region. They don't want conflict.
Stability and peace.
So there's been over
sounds good.
There's over a million
well,
Muslims.
If that is genuinely true,
over a million Muslims pray there. Over a million Muslims.
If that's genuinely true, that's commendable.
Over a million Muslims pray at the Temple Mount, Masjid al-Aqsa, Haram al-Sharif. Every year you can see pictures of them all prostrating, giving salat, making dua. You will not find any comparable picture of Jews praying there. The closest the Jews can get is the Western Wall. The only reason the Western Wall is important is because it's the closest we can get to the Temple Mount.
But is it not the idea eventually they want to build the temple on
so the Jewish religion wants a third temple on the Temple Mount.
But they want to destroy it.
No. So this is the misconception. If you ever look at Haram al-Sharif, one, there's no reason why Jews and Muslims can't share that space. Yeah, it doesn't have to be a new temple. Two, there's an awful lot of space up there. There's more than enough room. There's hundreds. Can I just finish? There's hundreds of mosques in Israel. There's hundreds of churches in Israel. We don't destroy them. Freedom of religion is guaranteed.
Better than China.
Yeah, freedom of religion is guaranteed for Muslims, Christians, Jews, Baha'i, everyone. Everyone has a right to religion within Islam. I would never, ever, ever, and the overwhelming majority of Israelis would never just support the destruction of Masjid al-Aqsa or Qubur al-Sakra.
Oh, you can't say no.
No, I said the majority. I said, yeah, I'm sure that.
For now.
Yeah, we have this crazy Israelis just like there's crazy Muslims.
For now.
But they have this sacred belief.
For now.
Are you one of the crazy Muslims?
No,
just thought I'd say hi.
Doesn't they have this sacred belief that the Temple Mount has to be built on that very spot?
So in Arabic, it's called Bayt al-Maqdis, yeah? Which is based on the Hebrew word Bayt al-Mikdash, which means the holy house. It was built on a Jewish temple. Qubur al-Sakra, Masjid al-Aqsa were built on a Jewish temple. Yeah? And so we're just saying we want to be able to pray there as well, mate. Like that's all. We don't want to destroy anything. We just want the right to pray there, just like you have the right to pray there. The irony is, you're both Muslim. You can go to Israel on your British passports, and you can pray. American passport. Sorry to hear that.
Sucks, huh? Tax. I had to get fucking tax.
And then I can't. I go with my British passport. As a Jew, I can't pray on there. How messed up's that? You as a Muslim can pray at my holiest site, I can't pray there.
That's where a lot of Palestinians can pray there.
Most can. It depends where they live.
Certain age brackets.
No, that's a temporary measure which is put in during times of conflict. It's not an ongoing thing.
It's always
people of all.
Isn't there a time though that when Jews can go and pray there?
No, there's no time. There's no time when Jews can pray on the Temple Mount.
I've seen.
You've seen Jews being taken there, walk there, but they're not allowed to pray. If a Jew prays on the Temple Mount, like World War III happens, it's crazy. Why should a Jew praying at Temple Mount incite people to stab people? Why should a Palestinian...
Well, it's more than just that conflict. It's more than just the...
No, but it's the actual... Whenever a Jew prays there, violence erupts and it's crazy. Yeah. It's crazy. Like, we are all monotheists.
It is a generalized
We're all monotheists. We should be able to pray there. And I also believe I should be able to visit Mecca and Medina, but hey...
What if a Muslim went into a Sunni?
Well, actually, you know...
What do you want to do
I'll
there?
tell you a reason why I don't want anybody... I'll tell you why I wouldn't want anybody who's not Muslim going there yet, and there's a good reason for this yet. During the Crusader periods, there were people who specifically pretended to be Muslim, and this is the reason why the Prophet's grave is covered in concrete, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, because they were trying to dig into the grave so they could take him back and basically parade it around Venice and stuff, and around Rome. So, no, we don't want anyone outside digging up his body.
So you think that's why I want to go there?
No, I'm not saying that, but I'm saying we just can't allow any
It's a bit of an extreme example.
We just can't allow any outsiders.
You said you want to go there. Give us the reason.
We just can't allow anybody inside
But
there.
ask him the reason why he wants to go there.
Why I went, okay, so Ibrahim is my great-great-great-grandfather. It's where I get the looks.
I've not seen him.
Ibrahim alayhi salam is my great-great-grandfather. Muslims tell me that he went there and he built the Kaaba. It's a place of monotheism. It's a place where a lot of good has come out of. It's a place which is very important to many of my friends. And it's a place which is very important historically for the world. So I would like to visit it as a monotheist, as a person who's interested in history and civilization. And I would like to say one of the most holy sites in the world. In the same way that many people visit the Vatican that aren't Catholic. That many people visit many holy sites around the world despite not belonging to those particular religions.
I would be open to a vantage point thing where someone can see it from a distance.
When Mecca is not ruled by Saudi, maybe you're welcome. If I rule, during the time of Ottoman Empire, I think
if you establish a new Khalifa, I will follow you, I'll come with you, you can take me, you can show me all the sites.
No, look, honestly, let me put it this way, yeah?
No, you're saying as a Jew I can go.
Let me put it this way, I'm all for a much more tolerant view of the ones that I have to take than the ones I have to take now. But right now is a time of conflict, and the Ummah is under a generalized attack from a vast array of forces. Yeah, and that's a fact. Like Kashmir is under occupation and they are doing human rights abuses. China is having concentration camps for Muslims. There are problems in Israel and Palestine. I know you are an advocate of Israel, but you have to admit there are serious problems there. Yeah, there are very serious problems for the generalized Ummah, and there's a very concerted effort to demonize Muslims in the highest orders of global society, generally. Yeah. So during that period of time, unfortunately, we're going to have to dig our heels in, and we're going to have to unify, and we're going to have to basically be opposing people in an aggressive sense. But one day, if people want to be friendly and all peaceful and stuff, okay, great. Hopefully, you can come out and we'll hold hands and we'll go to the Kaaba together, and you can look at it. Inshallah, that'd be nice. But that's not the world we live in right now. We have a vast array of forces bringing military might to bear on the Muslim world and doing ideological and cultural attacks upon it.
So you're saying that the Muslims have to be aggressive?
No, they have to defend themselves, and they have to be aggressive in their approach to people who fight themselves. Yeah.
For me?
They should always be loving to people. Anybody who brings a hand out. No, my opinion is the following, which the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ was his general. I can understand it his way, which was that whenever someone came to him with an open hand and kindness, he was open-handed and kind to them. Whenever someone came to hurt him, he defended his people, and as soon as they stopped and they wanted to make peace, he made peace even when they did things that were ridiculous. And he was like, let's just make peace just because it's peace. But I don't believe in this idea of someone's beating up on you, airstriking you, and you say, yeah, we're going to invite them over to come and visit stuff. No, unfortunately, no visiting now. No visiting. No, but I'm talking that you're part of.
And like, who is bombing the Kaaba?
No, not the Kaaba, but the Ummah itself.
Who's bombing Saudi Arabia?
The Ummah is Saudi Arabia.
Other than other Muslims.
The Saudi Arabia is basically the equivalent of the British Raj. It's just a colonial entity. It's a puppet government.
It's a colonial entity.
It's a colonial entity.
Who have the Saudis colonized?
No, I'm saying they're a colonial puppet entity, as in they.
Who are they colonized by?
No, basically they're a British sort of, an American sort of protectorate.
So the Saudis are a British protectorate.
An American.
An American
originally British, now American. Yeah, essentially, yeah. They have a lot of their roots from there, and they were patronized by them against the Ottomans and stuff like that, yeah. That's just a historical fact.
Okay.
Yeah. Like, you know, Lawrence of Arabia and all that jazz, give them weapons against each other so they can fight each other, you know, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, who's providing them weapons now?
I mean, that is the reason why they say Saudi Arabia is moderate when they're the most extreme, you would agree, the Muslims. Yeah? And then Iran, which is a lot less extreme than that. Still extreme, but a lot less extreme than that. And they're the extremists because they're not an American puppet.
So you're
but when the Shah was
Iran is
around,
less extreme.
in Saudi Arabia, yeah. In Saudi Arabia, yeah. No, Saudi Arabia is really
how many wars are the Saudis involved?
Okay, put it this way. Yeah, many.
Yemen, where else?
They're involved in Yemen, and then they got proxies in Syria, proxies in some other regions as well.
Now let's do Iran.
Yeah, but the difference is Iran isn't. I'm talking about extremist religion. I'm not
So
talking about like
Hezbollah?
It's
not a part of Iran.
Religion. I'm talking
No,
about
but they're completely controlled by Iran, and they admit they're controlled by
Okay,
Iran.
put it this way. By that estimate, then if we're calling the amount of military activities you're involved in extremism in terms of religious activity, then that means the United States of America is an extremist country, an extremist Christian country, because they're involved in loads of military activities. But domestically, then, well, actually, that's not true because the Bible Belt and these people are a big pusher of the Republican Party. They just don't frame it in those terms.
George Bush.
They just don't. No, because it's a non-starter. If George Bush starts saying Christianity, this and that, then what was the last president, Jack Chirac, when he came out and he was like, George Bush is talking to me about Gog and Magog. What is this guy talking about?
Anyway, I've got to go, and I promise.
So this is a problem. So they can't do it that way. So they can't frame it that way.
By the way?
Mixed ethnicity, man. Let's not get into it. But they have to frame it. They have to frame it in that way. They can't come out and say, "Oh, God told us this," because then the European allies who are more secular will say, "What the hell are these guys talking about?"
He's Polish, white Polish.
Yeah, Polish. But you see where I'm coming from here. The Americans can't frame it that way, but domestically, that's how they view it. They view it as a struggle between Christendom and Islam. The Europeans are a bit different in the way they view these things, but they won't. It's a non-political starter to come out and talk about Christendom. So they don't allow it. So they say, "Come on, talk about democracy or something, guys. Frame this nice so we can go fight."
Do you want me to answer your question? Because then I've got to go home.
So we did privately.
Right. Thank you.
Take care. Oh, but like, you know, one day during peace, man, maybe we'll go to these places.
Inshallah.
Content over everything from your government. Man, say it straight. Man, don't listen to BBC. Man, don't listen to ITV. Listen. COE. Man, don't listen to BBC. Man, don't listen to ITV. I don't even listen to ITV. I just listen to COE. Man, don't listen to BBC. Man, don't listen to ITV. Man, just listen to COE. Man, just listen to COE.